is Emily Jose-Alamo, and I'm a proud member of the Orlando Colonial FFA chapter. And this is my educational video for the 2026 Florida State Fair Youth Boar Goat Show in the Senior Division. In today's video, we will be discussing how to identify a common goat illness and how to properly treat it by reading medication labels to do things safely. The illness we'll be discussing today has a common sign of pale eye membranes. In this picture, the person is holding a FMACHA reader. The FMACHA is a name for the eye membranes, and the lighter the eye membranes, the more dangerous this disease is. This goat has very light eye membranes, as you can see in the pictures. This is a sign of worms. How do we treat worms in goats? The right way to treat this is by deworming your goat. This right here is a proper goat dewormer. And the way to deworm your goat is by calculating how much they weigh to see how much dewormer you need and drenching them. But many people have questions when it comes to deworming their goats. When deworming your goat or just giving any medication, there are questions such as how to store the medication, how much medication to administer, and how long you have to wait for a proper withdrawal time to harvest the animal. Well, these questions can all be found on your medication bottle. There are many things you have to learn to read when looking at a bottle of goat medication. You can't just look at the bottle and know all the information needed. The first thing is the medication name. This is important so that you ensure that you're not feeding the incorrect medication because many bottles may look the same. The medication name can be found right here on this bottle. The next thing that's very important to read is the active ingredient. That can be found right here next to the name. In this bottle, the active ingredient is fenbendazole. This is important to know exactly what your goat is ingesting and how much of it. The next important thing to know is the distributor name. Right here on this bottle, we can see the distributor name is Merrick Animal Health. This is helpful for if there's any adverse effects or reactions on your animal, such as a recall or death in your animal. You can always trace it back to the distributor and see if there's a factory issue. The next important thing to know on your medication bottle is your amount of contents. This basically means how much medication comes in the bottle you are purchasing. This is helpful for if you have prescribed medication and you have a certain day to administer it, such as 5 days or 7 days, and there's extra left over, you can check the amount of contents to ensure you are prescribing the correct amount, and there may just be a little extra in the bottle. The next important thing to know on your medication bottle is your amount of contents. This basically means how much medication comes in the bottle you are purchasing. This is helpful for if you have prescribed medication and you have a certain day to administer it, such as 5 days or 7 days, and there's extra left over, you can check the amount of contents to ensure you are prescribing the correct amount, and there may just be a little extra in the bottle. Next, and arguably most important, especially in an animal like a boar goat. Many boar goats are for meat, and you don't want to injure your consumer. When raising a boar goat, you have to know your withdrawal time and you have to read the warnings. Knowing your withdrawal times can help you decide when to deworm your animal. If it's near time for your animal to go to market, you may want to push back the market date to ensure that you are not injuring your consumer. The withdrawal and warnings can be found right here, and you can note another warning of goats must not be slaughtered for human consumption within 6 days following treatment. So you must always ensure, if given medication like a dewormer, that you read that, because a goat slaughtered before the 6 days can harm the consumer. The final thing you must read, and another very, very important factor, is the directions. We want to make sure when we are giving our animals medication that we are giving it to them in the proper way and the proper dose. This is to help keep the animal safe and healthy, because overdosing certain medications can cause many complications and includes death. In this bottle, the directions are listed right here. And the directions read, administer orally, which is why we are drenching. A drench gun is the only way to administer medication orally. Because the directions of this medication bottle read to administer the medication orally, we know to use this tool, which is a drench gun. Not reading the directions may lead us to think we have to use injection or other forms of providing this medication, which can make the medication ineffective or can make the use of the medication delayed, causing more stress and injury to our animals. The way we would use this tool right here is we would use the sides right here to measure the amount of medication we want, which is very helpful as we want exactly 2.5 millimeters for 100 pounds, which is our example animal. And you would pick up the medication, place this on the side of your animal's mouth between their teeth and their cheek, and then you would squeeze it into their mouth, having them ingest all the medication. Next, it says the recommended doses is 2.3 milligrams per pound. Additionally, on this bottle, here on the back, you can see dosing examples for goat. This helps to tell you how much to give based off of your goat's body weight. For example, if you have a 100-pound wether, you would give 2.3 milliliters of medication. Now that we know how to read the medication bottle, there's also some other important things listed on the bottle that can be important for whoever's administering the medication to know, such as me or you, when you go to treat your flock. On the bottle here, it shows storing instructions. It says not to store at or below 25 degrees Celsius and 77 degrees Fahrenheit. If you happen to freeze or overheat the medicine, you can kill the active ingredient of fenbendazole, and it can lead to not properly working and deworming your animal. Additionally, it says to always shake well before using, in case any content may settle to the bottom. Not shaking well before using can result in, again, your animal not getting the proper amount of medication and of all ingredients in the medication bottle. Another important part of the medication bottle is found right here in this white box. This is the date of expiration. The expiration date on this bottle is 2028-2, meaning February of 2028, this medication will expire, and the active ingredient of fenbendazole will either be weakened or dead. Having no active ingredient when administering your medication will make your medication less or completely unuseful, as it will not work as the purpose it was intended to work for. In the end, thank you so much for taking the time to learn from me how to properly read medication labels, and I hope that the next time you go to treat or even specifically deworm your flock, you are able to understand more easily how to do it. Thank you.